Good morning, ladies. I am Karen Ray. I'm the founder here at Fave Lifestyles, and we are on a mission to celebrate 1 million women igniting their courageous voices. And we are here behind the scenes today with Susan Straub-Martin, and her story was selected for our upcoming book, Being Brave, hashtag celebrating 1 million women and their courage. And her story, oh my goodness, Susan, welcome. Your story was a butterfly in a hurricane.
Yeah, there was a reason for the name of that, but
Yes, and it is so amazing. I love that title because when the ladies have the opportunity to read that story, they're going to really understand what that is. So, ladies, kind of what to expect today is I'm going to give Susan a moment to introduce herself and say hello to all of you, and then we're going to go right on into our interview. So, Susan, welcome, and tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, everybody. Not used to doing a live stream, so I apologize. I'm a little nervous.
It's okay.
I've been around the planet for a few years. I started out in Michigan, southern Michigan, and moved to Arizona, and then to California, and then to Washington. So I've been in Seattle area for a little over 27 years. And I am an artist and a storyteller. I create art, and I also write and illustrate children's books. So that's a little cap of what I do. And when I'm not doing that and I'm on my day job, quote, I work for Microsoft as an instructional designer for their team in the data centers. So I teach technicians how to pull stuff apart and put it back together.
Oh my goodness! Wow, I didn't realize that piece of what you do. So it's we come here to learn a little bit more about you. So yeah, so you this story, A Butterfly in a Hurricane. So first of all, I'm going to just read just a little bit so the ladies have an idea of what the story is about. So we'll give them a little teaser. Whoops, my notes just went away. Let me get back to my little thing here. Okay, so here we go. On April 12th, 2016, Susan faced a life-changing moment that demanded, every ounce of her courage. Rushed to the hospital, and sorry, ladies, I keep losing my notes. I'm having technical difficulties today. Rushed to the hospital and placed in an induced coma as Susan fought through severe septic shock with only a 3% chance of survival. Okay, right there. That is huge.
Yeah. It's a little, yeah. It was a little overwhelming. I didn't know what was going on, so that was okay. I felt bad for my husband and my family because they had to go through the brunt of the craziness. They had put me in a sedation vacation, otherwise a medically induced coma, but that's what they lovingly call it, is a sedation vacation. And so I had gotten some minor surgery that morning. It was an outpatient thing, and everything was fine. And then I didn't feel good, and by just a little before midnight, we called the ambulance, and then on April 12th, I was admitted to the hospital. So it's very odd. It was my brother's birthday. My brother that was a year older than me. It was his birthday that I entered the hospital. So he didn't get a good birthday present that year from me.
No, he didn't. No. Yes, I mean, there's so much to the story, and the ladies are going to be able to read that. I mean, there's this pivot point of an awakening, and really what has brought you for some perspective on being brave. And so that's a little bit what we're going to talk about, ladies, is not the story itself, but that experience and why Susan felt it was important to share her story. So, Susan, as you were as you saw this call to write a story, well, first of all, how did you even see it? Did you see it on our Facebook page, or what kind of was
Yeah,
that?
I did. I saw it on the Facebook page, and I really, at first I didn't think it's kind of an odd thing for me because I never really looked at myself as being brave. Um,
Mhm.
at all. I mean, it just isn't anything that really entered my mind. But I saw it and I thought, it kind of coincided with my 8th anniversary or my 8th birthday, rebirthday. I guess it's I have a birthday and a rebirthday, which are very close together. Um, but I saw it and I thought, I've wanted to write this story for a while, and I thought, what the heck, I'll write the story and I'll submit it. And I didn't expect anything, but I just sort of wanted to get it out. And part of the reason for the title, I should tell you the reason for the title.
Yeah.
I actually came up with a title. I actually tried to write this before, not too long after I started getting well, and I was still too close to it. But
Yeah.
the when I was when I was recovering, part of the recovery time was they had to peel my hands every day, and so they would give me Dilaudid, which, if anybody's ever been on Dilaudid, knows the joys of Dilaudid. It's a very heavy duty pain med, but it goes in, and the minute they put it in you, you kind of, your whole system is paralyzed for like, it seems like forever, but it isn't. It's like
Mm.
10 seconds, but it feels like an eternity. But then when you come out of it, you're just floating like a butterfly. And but everything is around you, and it's crazy because everybody's going crazy around you, and you're just like floating in midair. So that's how I came up with the idea for the title of the book, is because
Oh,
it felt like a
wow.
butterfly in a hurricane. Everything was swirling around, and I was still and quiet.
Wow.
So that's sort of how the idea of the story came out. So anyway,
Oh, wow. Well, it's interesting to have that experience too, and to thank you for
yes.
explaining that, because that, I mean, when I read the title, I just, first of all, that's a fabulous title, and I thought, yeah, just, and by reading your story, I'm like, I could totally understand how that whole situation might be described that way,
Yeah.
and so what do you feel was the importance of you sharing this story? I mean, for yourself and for others.
I think the importance for me, I think of myself first and foremost as a teacher,
Mm,
um, whether it's, like I said, whether it's children's books or it's working in my day job, teaching others how to do stuff. Um, for me, it was a teachable moment, and it was a teachable moment for me. And I thought it might be something that if somebody went through something like I did, which
mhm.
was horrifying at best, um, that if I could give them one glimmer of hope that it does get better, then that's kind of, that to me was the importance of it. It was just to kind of get it out there to say, if you've gone through something really tragic like this, it changes you in ways that you'll never ever begin to believe. But you don't lose yourself. It, my idea is that um, if you learn from it, you don't lose yourself.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gain
Very
yourself, you gain a new perspective on yourself because you are a totally different person.
mm,
But I think if you kind of go through that process, that there is light at the other end of the tunnel. And that's what I believe, is that sharing your stories like this, all these wonderful stories that have been shared, just reading all of the different stories, I think it has that commonality of we just want people to understand that you can go through something horrible and tragic and horrific and come out the other side and be a better person. And if
Nice.
that helps one person, I don't care if it helps a million people. I don't care about that. If it just helps one person, I'm cool.
Yeah. Yes. And one of the things that I pulled out, and the reason I asked that question too, is because you said in your story, you felt there was a second chance for a reason. And I
Yes.
love it when you said that, because even, I mean, you recognized what you just said about that, if it just can help and just let somebody know that they're not alone in their story,
Right.
that it just, you're, as you're going through these things, if anything in that story, I mean, there were so many golden nuggets. I have a couple others written down because there was just these little golden nuggets throughout the story, that, and your story is going to touch people in all different ways. It's interesting how people read and their perspective, and so
Oh,
they'll
absolutely.
because they'll relate it to what they've gone through in their own story and go, oh,
Yeah.
I relate. I can relate to that. And that's where that hope comes that you're sharing. So thank you for sharing that. And so what was it like when you were sitting down there writing the story, as you're having to kind of go through the story again? What was that
Yeah.
experience like for you?
Um, it was kind of cathartic in a way because um, it's odd. So a person with severe septic shock has about a 3% chance of survival.
Mm.
Uh, Within 5 years, if you survive, the 3% that did survive, only half of them will still be alive.
Oh, you're kidding. I had no
Mhm.
idea.
Oh no, no, no. This is a really wicked thing.
Wow.
And so my 5-year anniversary hit during COVID, which was crazy. Um and it that ability to hit those milestones and to
Mhm.
move forward, to me, it's not just a milestone, but it's a way of saying, hey, remind yourself you're still here, you're still going through everyday life, you have a good life, and it's good. So when I said I write the story on my 8th birthday, so when I came out of my coma, which was actually uh, 4 days before my actual birthday, uh, so so I'm either 8 or I'm 66. It depends on where you want to go with that. Sometimes I
Okay.
feel like an 8-year-old, but that day I felt more like a 66-year-old trying to explain how it felt. And it kind of, like I said in my story, I don't really consider myself brave. I consider myself um, lucky and blessed.
Oh, whoops. I think we froze there. Let's see if she comes back. Susan. Oh, Susan, we froze there. So we missed just what you said.
Sorry, I um, so with all of that said, I believe that I had a second chance for a reason, and that is
Mm-hmm.
why I wanted to tell my story at that particular time, because I feel like I'm ready to tell it.
Yeah.
And it's a funny thing. I I look I I wake up in the morning and I think, oh, I'm no different than I was before I got sick. And then I look down, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So I notice that things are different, but
Mhm.
it's um, it's different in a positive way. I think um, I've been able to. I'll tell a small story of when I was in a coma, and then explain why that really is the pivotal moment of how everything happened. So when you're in a coma, medically induced coma, you can hear things around you. You feel people's presence in the room. I knew that my husband was there. I knew when my best friend got there. I knew when she left. I knew when my brother got there. I knew when
Oh,
my brothers were in the room. Um, but I had an experience that is just a very strange experience that to me solidified why it was a second chance. And it
mm-hmm.
was, I was dream state, coma state, whatever you want to call it. I had this shaman come and visit me. Not a, you know, not all, just a guy, shaman, dressed, had a nice fedora on, plaid shirt, looked a little bit like my brother.
Okay.
And he came and he asked me, he said, why do you want to survive? And I said, well, I want to survive because I love my family and friends and I wouldn't want to leave them. And he said, that's great, but that's not really the answer I'm looking for. I'll come back in a little while and we can talk again. I said,
Oh,
okay. And so he came back a little while later and he said, have you thought about it? And I said, yeah. I said, I love my students. I've been teaching and I really love to teach and I love to pass on wisdom. And he was like, yeah, that's really nice. It's really great, but not, not what I'm
Susan.
looking for.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
not what I'm looking for. So he said, I'll give you one more chance. And I said, okay. And he came back and he said, okay, have you thought about it again? And I said, yes. I said, I want to do my art. I want to create art that brings joy and happiness to people. I said, I want to write children's books to make kids happy and teach them little things along the way. Not, heavy duty stuff, but just little things along the way. And I really think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's why I'm supposed to be here. And that's why I'm supposed to survive. And he was like, that's a good reason. And I came out of the coma a day later.
Oh, wow. Oh, my
So,
goodness. That is amazing.
so that's kind of my,
Yeah, that
um,
right there. I want to just sit with that for a second because that to find that reason, that bigger why, and to be able to
yeah,
now even still hang on to that as you face changes. And so one of the things that you wrote that really hit me in the story was your definition of brave. And I'm just going to read it because it goes right to what you were saying, is showing up for those everyday challenges and to have that why. To have that
mhm,
why, to get through those everyday challenges so you can get to that bigger thing in life. Oh my goodness, there's so many things that we could bring up. And I'm really looking for the ladies to read the entire story. And when ladies, the stories get presented in interview style. So it's an easy read. What I love about it is that you can just pull out these little nuggets that I have. The
mhm.
other little nugget that really touched me as in your story too, was to learn to live with who you are now.
Yes,
Ladies, we've been through a lot of things and we think we needed to be that person who we used to be. But Susan, as you were talking about, to embrace that person, that new person that you are today, who
yeah,
has gone through that story and that new perspective that you've gained. And it sounds like that's what you've really taken to heart, that bigger perspective of that second chance that you were talking about. Um,
yeah, definitely. I, when I was, after I was able to get back and work on my computer and draw and create again,
mhm.
I was able to do, I've been in church shows across the country. Um, I have a piece that's part of the permanent collection at Children's Hospital here through the Odessa Brown Clinic. I've been able to write a few children's books. I just got done with my third book, which is called Hannah Here Has the Blues, and it teaches kids. It's about a hare that she gets blue every now and then. And she doesn't want to hurt her friends, so she runs away when she gets the blues, but then her friends get worried about her. But she learns to live with the blues, and she has her friend Bill the Bear, who teaches her how to harness the things that bring her joy. And that's kind of what I do, is I find the things that I can do to harness the joy I have for creating, the joy I have when people see my artwork and they really enjoy it. And seeing a kid reading your book is like one of the coolest things ever on the planet. And I think that's why I'm here. That's why I was supposed to be here. I was supposed to make that impact. And that's kind of why I wrote the story.
So that is amazing. And to, like you said, to see those kiddos read your story and what a joy that is, that brings to you as well. So as we close out, what is one thing you would like to leave the ladies with? A little inspiration, a glimmer of hope, or just a word?
That's a hard one. So I consider myself Susan 2.0. Because I'm not the same person that I was before. And 2.0 is a good version. I found that I'm more compassionate. I'm more loving. I'm more forgiving. I enjoy life a lot more, as far as being with my dog, being with my husband, being with my friends, being with my family. It has a different meaning now. And to me, that meaning is so much more important than what it was before. I think when we're really young and we think the world is falling apart and we don't really know how to cope with it, I think age gives us a little wisdom. And I think that wisdom helps us through times that are difficult. I'm not going to say everything that I went through was easy, or I was there every day and present and excited about it, because I wasn't. But I knew the end result was that I would come out a better person, and I could help other people come through similar situations. And actually, my hand doctor asked me to talk to a patient who basically had the same thing happen to them. This was during COVID, and they were ready. They were going to suffer the same losses I did of my hands, and she was just devastated. She couldn't have her family there because it was COVID. She had flown out to see her kids, and her husband was back east. He couldn't come and see her. So she was all alone in the experience. And I can't imagine how insane that must have been, because if it wouldn't have been for everybody around me, I don't know that I would be here. So I was willing to reach out to her, because he was like, this is up to you. I'll give you her number and you can call and talk, and that's up to you. And we had a wonderful conversation. And she's like, I don't know that I'm ever going to get there. I said, yes, you will. I said, because you want to. You have kids, you have grandkids, you have people that you love and respect and admire. And so being brave to me is just moving through that fear, moving through that pain, moving through that craziness, and saying, I'm going to come out the other side and be the best person I can be. And live my passion and live my purpose. And that's
Nice.
it.
Wow. Well said. And so what I just got from that too is hang on to that glimmer of hope, but also that once you get through something, you might be the hope for somebody else. So ladies, I encourage you to also share your stories. You can still do that. It'll go on to our Fave platform. You just go to our www.favelifestyles.app. There's a spot there where you can read stories, and you can also submit a story to give hope to other women. And that's really what our Celebrating 1 Million Women is about honoring our stories and letting that be a light for somebody else. And that's what we're doing here in celebrating these ladies. So Susan, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited, and I'm really grateful that my story was picked. I never even imagined that it would be, and it really touched me that it was picked. So thank you so much.
You bet. And this the book is going to be published in December of 2024. So ladies, look for that coming out. And in the meantime, we're going to send you some love and some hope through your story, and know that you can be a light for somebody else too. So have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day. Thank you.